Welcome. So recently, I've been getting some rather strange YouTube videos popping up into my feed. Oh, not that one. These ones by The Gray Cuber. How to say numbers faster and how to say numbers even faster, which outline a system of saying numbers faster, believe it or not. Now, I love this Gray Cuber guy, okay? His videos are great. They have amazing visual polish, they help popularize maths for the masses, and I love maths, you know? I love pure maths, which is what this channel is mostly about. I love applied maths substantially less, but I still love applied maths, and I love linguistics. Probably more than applied maths and pure maths combined. So, you know, what could possibly go wrong, right? Let's check these videos out, and oh my god, the systems in them are not very good. For example, to say 676,767, you would have to say 8 12 score mod 3 mil elf. Now, if you don't know much about the system, you might say, well, that doesn't look that bad. But no, that really is that bad. Why? Because to use this system, the cognitive load is immense. Not only do you have to remember every factorial, every multiplication of every possible number combination out there, every single division combination out there, every single exponentiation combination out there, every single addition and subtraction combination out there. Not only do you have to memorize all of those to use the system, you also have to memorize every single combination of two numbers in exponentiation out there. You also have to memorize every single combination of modulo out there. You also have to memorize every single prime out there, every single combination out there, every single permutation out there, every single base out there. And not only that, you have to be able to quickly and concisely, make a note in your mind of how many syllables every combination takes. Short of just memorizing every single number from 1 to infinity, you must do that for every possible combination of operations that can lead to your number before you can, properly use this number system. And not the efficiency of this system is just abysmal. Like 8 12 score mod 3 mil elf is only about 50% faster than 676,767. And because the how stress works in English, it's not even faster. Like, it might actually be slower to say 8 12 score mod 3 mil elf than to say 676,767. Editor here, it is definitely faster to say 676,767. Which is why I did what any sane person would do, and I created my own Conlang number system and my own script to convert normal or Arabic numerals into my number system. This took about 3 days. And, I'm not Gray Cuber, okay? I don't have a girlfriend, and I don't have visual polish. Plus, I don't know half the math he does, but I believe this system is much, much better. And there are some examples in the end that will show why. It'll compare normal numbers versus Gray Cuber's method versus my method. And I'll also leave a link to the repo where you can download that script in the description. Alright, so first of all, I gotta explain what bases are. So imagine you have a bus stop. Bus terminus, actually. I know this doesn't look like one, but it is one. It's called One's Place. It's in the middle of nowhere. And there's a bus that arrives in approximately hourly frequencies, maybe a bit less in rush hour, you know how it is, right? That have a capacity of 9. Now, that's not very good. What if 10 people want to get on the bus at once? Well, the 10th person will just have to walk to a slightly bigger station just down the block called Tens Place, which is a road coach station. That has a capacity of 90 with hourly coaches coming in that can take 90 people away at a time. But what if 100 people want to commute to the city? Well, then they'd probably have to go to Hundreds Place train station, which has a capacity, every train that comes in has a capacity of 900. This is called carrying. The action of the 100th person moving from Tens Place to Hundreds Place is known as carrying. And what a base essentially is this multiple between One's Place and Tens Place and Hundreds Place. For this instance, it's base 10. So 10 people, the 10th person must go to the next station up. The 100th person must go to the next station up after that. You can also have, say, a base 5 system. In this system, we have a minibus station where every minibus that comes by has a capacity of 4. We have a BRT system where every bus that comes by has a capacity of 20. And we have a light rail system where every light rail train that comes by has a capacity of 100. Now, every station's vehicle has a capacity of 5 times above the one below it. That's why it's called base 5. So the 5th person to arrive at 1's place must then go to 5's place to get transportation, and the 25th person to arrive at 5's place must go to 25's place to get transportation. Mathematically, it looks a bit like this, and you might notice. Wait a second. This highest tier of station in base 10 and this highest tier of station in base 5, well, you only incremented the base by double, but the capacity of the station itself increased by 9-fold. And yes, the efficiency of bases increases exponentially the higher the base gets. So higher bases are very, very good for saving space. In addition, open syllables cause less confusion because every sound has only one place in every syllable that it can be. For example, vowels can only be in the middle of the open syllable. Nasals, which are sounds like m, n, ng, can only be at the end of the syllable. And initials, which is every other consonant, can only be at the start of the syllable. So you can, slur speech and elide consonants, speak very quickly without things completely falling apart. I will also not be including any diphthongs or closed syllables because they're slow. Diphthongs are double the vowel length and vowels are longer than consonants. And this should hopefully create a blazingly fast conlang system. So, as I mentioned earlier, a small increase in bases can drastically increase the efficiency of a system. So what's stopping me from just, increasing the amount of bases in my system to infinity? Wouldn't that mean that every single number in existence can be represented with only one syllable then? Well, no, it's not as simple as that, because I only have a limited number of finals, a limited number of initials, and a limited number of nuclei. And the main limitation on these syllables is the finals, because there are only 5 usable finals that I can use, which is the null final, m, n, ny, ng. That's 5, right? There are other finals, but it would be way too cognitively taxing to include them since they're very rare sounds. In addition to that, we add 6 tones, because I'm Cantonese and I can speak 6 tones, but also because the highest number of tones in a natural language that I'm aware of is 6. It appears that there's some sort of limitation to how many tones can, get represented in a language. For example, Middle Chinese had 8-tone phones, but only 4-tone phonemes, right? And from Middle Chinese, once some of the finals have elided, most Chinese languages merged many tones together to get to 4, 5, maybe 6 tones, because there is a limitation on how many tones our brains can actually process, it seems like. And it seems like 6 is near the upper limit of what our brains can naturally process. So we have to come up with 30 initials and 30 nuclei. The initials are not very hard. They're as follows. P, B, T, D, K, G, S, Z, Sh, J, F, V, H, R, R, L, T, Z, Ch, J, Th, The, Tra, K, K, Tl, W, H, F, V. Hi, so I just realized I forgot to explain how the letters in the square brackets work. So basically, they're just the romanization of a given sound. So for example, if t is romanized as TL, then what that means is that TLA will be pronounced like tra. The nuclei are a little bit harder. I can't distinguish 30 vowels. Unless you speak some weird dialect of Danish or West Limburgish or Emiliano Romagnol or whatever, you probably can't either. So I'm adding palatalization of the initial in addition to this 15 vowel inventory below. Technically 16 vowels, I'll get to that later. Why did I choose palatalization and not something like aspiration for the consonants? Well, first of all, aspiration takes longer to pronounce, and second of all, palatalization is more common in languages cross-linguistically. Also, I can say palatalization better than I can say aspiration, and you can't really aspirate, Africans, right? Well, you can, but it's hard. So the nuclei are as follows: I, U, Ö, U, E, O, Ö, E, Ö, A, O, O, E, A. Then on to the finals. The individual finals I already went over, and the final tones are as follows: C, 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 C. You might notice that some of these have weird letters on them. Like, for example, why does this say 0 to E? What does E mean? Well, once you get to a base that is higher than base 10, you can't really write those numbers in using only numerals anymore because we only have 10 numerals. So for base 30, for higher bases, we use letters, letters, symbols, and such. So how do you form numbers in this system? Single-digit numbers are represented with only the nucleus, so only the vowel. Again, this is for easier speaking. Double-digit numbers are represented with no final, only initial and nucleus. These are truly open syllables, which are also much easier to say. So what does no final mean? Well, no final means tone 1 with a glottal stop. So technically there are 35 consonants in this language, not 34. Yeah, I kind of forgot that I added a null final, so now we have to, deal with this. And you form numbers by stacking sets of 3 digits on top of each other. You'll understand what I mean. It's basically the same as English, except you don't say words like thousand, million, billion, because they're implied in the word order. Alright, the vowel ash, is the 16th vowel in this conlang, and it has been reserved for special markers. Ka is negative, ta is decimal point, and le with a number after it, it signifies that the number of digits before it repeat infinitely. That would be really hard to implement in code, so I didn't do it. I did it manually for my examples. Decimals. Did you know that decimals in different bases fucking suck? 3.3 in base 20 is 3.6. I'll just let that sink in for a moment. 3.3 in base 20 is 3.6. In base 2, it's 11.01001100 repeating. In base 5, it is 3.12 repeating. And in base 36, it is 3.AS repeating. Why are these all completely different? Well, it's because 0.1 in every base always equals 1 over that base. Which, makes sense, and it follows the rules of arithmetic as we know it. But at the same time, that is a bit bullshit, isn't it? So moving on to the examples. How these examples are going to work. First, we're going to have the number in normal speech. Then we're going to have the number in my system. Then we're going to have the number in Greg Huber's system. Now, the pronunciation of my conlang is so complicated, I'm not even going to try to do this in real time. So, roll the clips. 4 versus 4. 1 to 1 to 1. 908. Bin versus 908. 5 to 1 to 4. 38,920. Yu versus 5. Choose 3 mod 8. 11 to 2 to 5. 839,271,092. Yukyungdan versus so long it's not even on the website. 22 to 3 to disqualified. Estimated 15 to 20. 133 quadrillion, 717 trillion, 327 billion, 173 million, 727,317 versus also not supported. 58 to 4 to disqualified, estimated 30 to 40. 8.25. Ta Z versus not supported. 4 to 3 to disqualified. 8.3 repeating. De Jiang Yang Le E 6 to 5 to disqualified. Minus 9 quintillion, 223 quadrillion, 372 trillion, 36 billion, 854 million, 755,807.92233720368547758807. 嘅於撇強言甜聽向斷萬意 versus absolutely not supported. 83 to 11 to triple disqualified. Alright, thank you for watching. Subscribe please. Bye.